We'll break the trend a little bit from looking at those top-loading VCRs. We'll get back to those soon though. And instead we're going to take a look at this interesting thing that arrived recently. It says it's a video disc recorder, DSR-DR1000P, but it's not actually video disc. It's a hard disk, I guess? Well, we'll find out what it is. There's something inside there that you can't remove. But it also has network ability. Standard sort of VCR control panel. It's one of those half rack width type things. And on the back, video disc recorder, but it's not Laserdisc. On the back you get the usual things. There's remote control, 9-pin, and then there's various video inputs and outputs. Reference video input for sync. Video in component, composite, always video, but only one at a time. Then timecode, and then there's video out, similarly in component, S-video, composite, and then there's a superimposed output for monitoring. Then there's digital audio, and there's also SDI ins and outs, and then audio, balanced audio in and out, and a monitor audio out. I guess we should try joining the SDI up to something. Let's look inside it before we turn it on, and we'll see what it does. Well, we'll see what's inside it, and then we'll see what it does. I don't know if it's wrecked. It might be. It's usually the reason why I get stuff is because it's wrecked or non-functioning for some reason. Oh yeah, it has firewire as well, doesn't it? And Ethernet. We saw on the back. Oh, look at that. Several hard disks on some kind of shock mount looking things. Guess we should take those out and then inspect them. What's the size of those disks? It says it's quick view. I wonder if it's possible to put different ones in. Change it for an SSD. Make it all good. Will that pull out if you... Yeah, some sort of ugly IDE cable. Oh, it's IDE drives. That's a blast from the past, isn't it? IDE drive. So what's the capacity? It's 40 gigabytes. Okay. Also 40 gigabytes. Great. Two 40 gigabyte drives. Two 40 gigabyte. Some kind of piggybacked up power connector thing. I wonder if it matters which is which. It probably does. So perhaps we should be careful before we try this thing out. Just get that out of the way though. I wonder how many more layers of boards there are. Maybe none, because at the side where it's got those little bracket things that are holding the board, there isn't any more below. Can't take the bottom off, it's one piece. There must be more stuff though, because there's the I/O connections go down further than that board. Various Sony chips, FPGA type things, Xilinx, Spartan, 4 of those, some ALA chip, some kind of stuff looks like RAM, lithium battery timekeeper, some kind of clock, real-time clock. Guess it needs that to set up the file dates on these drives. Wonder if they use a normal format, not likely. There are hard disk access LEDs there. Oh look, some kind of handle thing. Does that mean, look at that. It's like a handle on that. Does that mean you're supposed to lift it up from that side? The other thing is, it looks like there's some double-sided tape stuff down there. Do you think there's more drives down there? How would you know? Oh, we'd have to take it apart. Well, let's try it out first, and then, depending on how we feel, we'll take it apart more. I have to plug that cable back in. Let's see, is there any stuff on this already? Does it come from a responsible business and it's not broken? It would have been erased. Okay, we'll put another camera so we can see the front when it gets powered up. And we'll join up this video. Very dirty connectors. We can look at the front on this. And we can look at the video output. Need to find a power cable. Alright, let's juice it up. Oh, it makes a lot of noise. There's a noisy fan in there. Now loading. Very annoying noisy fan. So the control's set to local, and that's just on the preset for these audio levels. Maybe it's ruined. It will never finish loading. Oh, yeah, look at that. So I guess it doesn't load. And so there's no things that have any kind of response. Guess those drives are moving. Just look at those. The hard disk LEDs. So the hard disk LEDs, one of them's on solid. Now they both flickered. You can see them there. Yeah, I guess it doesn't work. I wonder if there's something you can hold down to make it go to some other state when it powers up. Well, it says goodbye. Huh. Before it turned off straight away. But now it says goodbye. I guess that's because it's supposed to close off the file system, but it's given up on that by the time it tells you there's an error. It's weird it doesn't have anything coming out the video output, not even a loading thing on the video output. Goodbye. One of the drives seemed to turn off and restart a few times. Probably means the drives have failed, or at least one of them has failed. I'm wondering maybe we should try sticking a different drive in. Look at this! While I was trying to search what that error code means, it just turned on. So does that mean it's ready to go now? Video end. Okay, so there's nothing on it. Alright, well I guess that means we should put something on it. You can go to the menu. There's lots of things. Display control. Timecode, video control. Color bars. Wide process control to sync it up to something. Input blanking. Interface. Okay, so that's how you can change what they're doing. PC remote. Remote interface. Okay. We need to try and go to this thing's website. Can you not have a gotta do it one character at a time. Can't just set it to auto IP. Hopefully the sound's not too ruined by this fan noise. It's very annoying. No wonder they were chucking this out. Okay, we need to try and find a video source, and then we should try recording on this thing and see what it does. Well, I guess it will just record, but I will hunt for something that is a video source. Surely I've got a camera or something around here. Alright, this is what we're going to do. Got another VCR here. This is DSR-45 DV cam. We're going to take the firewire, which is annoyingly a 4-pin on this, and we'll plug it into the firewire on this disc recorder, 6-pin, and that should hopefully give us a nice video signal to try and record. To get this plugged in. This thing is so dirty. Very dusty and dirty. And then we'll get this thing hooked up over here. Not enough room as always to set up all the stuff nicely. Yeah, I was trying to find another VCR that's not really loud. Got an HDV one which is quite noisy. Louder than this thing. And so we'll play this tape, and we have to set the input on this thing to firewire, I guess. There you go. iLink. Said that somewhere, didn't it? There, on the screen. iLink. Something's happening. There you go. In theory, it's recording this now to a hard disk, although the counter's not moving. You have to push play. Okay, yes, you have to push record, then the play button at the same time. Then it records. Well, we'll let that go for a while, and then we'll try playing it back and see how that goes. You can see, oh, both hard disk lights are flashing, so maybe it does some stripe type thing for the speed. Maybe it's very raw recording. 293 minutes. What's that in hours? Yeah, nearly 5 hours of recording. So if that takes up 80 gigabytes, then yeah, it's pretty high bitrate, isn't it? Is that 3.6 gigs per minute? Maybe? 61 megabytes a second. Assuming I worked that out right. Just dividing some numbers. We'll come back in a bit once it's recorded for a while. Or maybe we should stop this and then record another one, and that way we'll have multiple. Okay, so you put it into EE mode by pushing record. See, that's paused it. If we push play, back, play, plays, stop, you go record, play, it just plays, record, play, now it's recording. But is it recording over what we did, or is this another thing? Presumably it will just auto increment to another file and do that. It's got audio channels 3 and 4 which don't have anything on it because it's just a stereo source. Line out select, counter select, timecode user bits, counter. Okay, so the counter is just using the timecode off of the machine, I think. No, it's not, because on the machine that's playing it says 6 minutes. Although that might be a counter, not a timecode. No, the counter is 3 minutes, timecode's 6 minutes. So there's, I guess firewire doesn't send timecode over. What if there's a time? There is a timecode out port on the back of this thing. Perhaps we should join the timecode out from that to the timecode in on this and see if it jumps. I probably can't deal with that because there's delays in the firewire, introduces a bit of a delay. Let's just try it anyway. So we've got this cord coming from the timecode out port, and we'll join it to timecode in and see what happens. Nothing. Probably because you have to stop. Or maybe it knows. Yeah. Or maybe this thing isn't set up to output timecode. Or maybe this thing isn't set up to input timecode. See, there's a timecode preset. Setup menu. Timecode. Timecode I record. Int preset. Ext regen, that's what we want. So is that selected now? Ext regen. Let's see. Oh. It is! It is, look at that. Now it says 840, and that's what it says on the player over here. There you go, we're using the timecode. What happens if we unplug it? Nothing, because it's on regen, so it would have just jumped to that. I guess if we fast forward for a bit, or rewind for a bit, and if we plug this back in, now will it jump in time? So that's saying 9, and didn't jump. They're out of sync, but I guess if we started the recording again, nope. Yeah, I don't know. It sort of worked, but I guess you can't just arbitrarily jump around in time because that's weird, isn't it? Why would you do that? Well, I don't think I've ever played with hooking up time codes before. Well, of course it can't jump anyway. Great, we've got some recordings on this machine now. If we pause the player, well, it doesn't matter because so when you push back and forward, or whatever those are, previous and next, it jumps between the different programs that have been recorded, and then you can just play it. I guess you can use the jog as well. It has variable. This is something that's got some action. So we can jog, we can search, presumably. Oh, we have to push that into search. So that will allow you to shuttle. Then if you put it into jog mode, you can put it into variable. Maybe? Oh, variable. And adjust the speed forward and back slowly. That's the brilliance of the hard disk recorder, that you can get a seamless forward and back without any tape noise. But then the professional videotape players do that anyway because they use a time-based corrector in them, so they can correct. Well, they can make a nice clear picture. It goes up to 32 times forward and back. Oh, we're at the end. Video end. Good, you got a good working machine. Well, it worked once. Whether or not it will work next time it gets turned on, then who would know. I guess the problem is the hard disk's on its way out. Now I've forgotten what the error code was because it stopped doing it. Was it 91215? Wait one moment, I'll just look that up. Right, so yes, I just looked back and it's 91-215. And I looked that up in the manual. 91215 is communication between the system control and keyboard was intermittent. Detected by KY IC102/DY-19 board. So it's got nothing to do with the hard disk. It's to do with the communication. So that means this, I guess. That's a ribbon cable that goes between the system control and keyboard. Presumably that's the keyboard on the front, and that's the system control, the main board. It's pretty hot. Hot stuff down there. So the only problem is that ribbon cable? That's a bit far-fetched, isn't it? I don't know. Well, let's take it all apart. I want to see what's under this board, because there's definitely something going on there, because there's stuff that looks like tape, and it's got that weird handle thing over there, which I don't know what is the purpose of that. Alright, we stopped recording. Let's turn it off. Oh, it didn't say shutting down or something weird before? Didn't do that this time. Let's just for fun, let's turn it back on again and see if it successfully turns on. The hard disk still do some sort of pulsing and restarting thing for a bit. They're probably also on their way out. Maybe it's supposed to take ages. Anyway, let's just start taking the front panel off anyway, because we want to see what's going on down there. I wonder how much stuff you have to undo for this. It's probably just going to go back to that, error state. Of course it is. It's never going to work again now, is it? But before, I started searching the error, and the error just went away while I was doing that. I just noticed it's sort of something on the screen changed and it just finished loading up. So it's not necessarily the cable, is it? There's some processor CPU thing that's upset, because communication, it can mean quite a lot of things, more than just the wire is broken. Well, let's take it all apart. What I wanted was something to label which hard disk plugged into which thing, because that might be important. Possibility of that being important. This is a proper 80 conductor cable. So do they call? So this one is 2. We'll just write 2 on there. We should write it on the drive as well, because in case we move the cables around. And this one is 1 and 11112. What is that? It's some kind of peeling off thing. Presumably this stabilizing bracket thing has to come out, because if we're going to flop this board up, there are arrows pointing to the screws. There's also thread locking stuff on there, so it may not have been opened before. I don't know what age this thing is. I guess it's pretty old, because it seems to predate high definition stuff. It's just DV cam level, not HDV. I've got some HDV stuff. We'll take a look at that one day. It's just too much stuff. Clips on the bottom. Oh, look at that. Ah, okay, the keyboard is separate to the display, so the cable that's wrecked might not even be that one that was touching. Well, it might not even be a cable, but see there, the keyboard part is separate. Look at the earphone plug, socket, whatever. Man, that's really difficult to undo. Little plug there from the earphone socket. Now, we are none the wiser, because look, there's just a plate there, so I was thinking we could look down in there to see what's under that main board, but nope, can't do that. Oh, that comes out at that end. Okay, I guess we can put that back, and yeah, unplug it from the other end. That's a very difficult little tiny plug there. Okay, let's look at this. Vacuum fluorescent display, quite dirty. This whole thing is very dirty. See, look at the dirt on those pots. Pretty nasty. Hasn't been in a nice machine room, it's been somewhere else. Or it's been in a dirty machine room. It's got conformal coating. I wonder why. Some Hitachi chip. Hitachi. Then some driver stuff for vacuum fluorescent. See, some stuff was manually soldered or selective with a weird flux. All yellow along with those controls. Because it's double-sided load surface mount, then the through-hole parts either have to be done by selective soldering or by manual hand soldering. Difficult to know. If it was done with selective soldering, it should have burnt the flux off. So maybe it was hand soldered. It's pretty tidy. Interesting, there's flux on this side as well. I guess they really wanted the solder to flow through to get a good quality connection. Alright, so I think you got to take the back off. Oh, it must be the power supply in the bottom section. That's why there's that really noisy fan down there. Not sure exactly what comes out here. Whether we have to undo heaps of little screws for all of the connectors. Oh, it might slide back on these cables. Right. Oh, there's another one. Oh, okay. Just the top bit. The top one is attached. And the others are on a sub panel. I wonder if that's optional. Oh, and that. That's tricky. The serial interfaces. Breakfast. Serial interfaces on their own ribbon. Yeah, so this top stuff, the inputs reference audio in, that's part of this back panel thing. The others are on a sub panel. You can peer into the back a little bit. So that's a separate panel. And there's a whole power supply thing there. Alright, well let's take this board off now. Just yoinking it around. Oh, that has been done before. So even though it's got that glue stuff on it, the glue is just flaked off and stayed with the screw. Yeah, so someone has been in here. I was thinking, because it has still had that stuff there, that maybe this is the first peek inside. It is not. Oh, okay. So that's why there's a handle thing there. You see there's a power supply connector soldered below there. So they give you this to yoink it off. Then you can pull it forward to get it out from those. And then I guess you slide it all back. Oh, that looks like quite a lot like a PC power supply, doesn't it? Well, the connector does. 12.5 volts, 5.1 volts, 3.3 volts, 6.2 volts, minus 6.2, minus 12.5, E 3.3. I guess that's like a seal so that the airflow goes in the right place. Maybe? Guess so. The air comes out of there. So I suppose they want it to go around? No. So that's where the fan is. So it has to come up these edges then, where that's pushed outwards and around. Look at all that stuff. So there must be a more hard out version of this, because there's some quite big chips that don't exist on this model. Some more kind of ramish thing there. And then another huge chip. Oh yeah, so that there is related to that. It's the other one of those. There must be some other features that you can get. Looks like that network module thing comes out. Yes, because getting the modules for this is not cheap. Well, models of this VCR, some of them have transcoder type things for turning high definition into standard definition, and getting those boards costs a bit. Yeah, that's been... Someone's undone this side thinking that you need to do that to take the board out, but you don't. Okay. Oh, there's not much on there. It's on this side. There's one of those things, an HD6417751. It's the kind of CPU thing. Firewire stays down there, so this is only a network interface with an Intel something or other on there. 82559ER. Must be magnetics in the jack. Pulse jack. Yeah, there'll be magnetics in there, because you can see the pairs come straight out. Must be 100 megabits. It's only 2 pairs. Suppose we should still... Well, if we can get it to turn on again, we need to try going to this thing's website. Presumably it'll have a website. Made in Japan. Alright, well that's the network interface. And presumably that, like there, will be the TI chip for the firewire interface. I don't think we'll take that off. It's just too much undoing because you got to undo the screws associated with these connectors so the panels can separate. Yeah, but if it doesn't work again, then we need to inspect that front panel board with the buttons on it, see if there's anything going on there. Presumably the button part of that front panel board will be quite basic and not have any active electronics on it, which, yes, would lead it back to being the connection between this board and the front panel board that is an issue, not this keyboard part and the screen part of the front panel. I guess we put this back. Not easy. That needs to go under. It's hooked on something. So would they be talking about this? Does this have any active stuff on it? I thought that would just be like a keyboard matrix type thing. Suppose we can take it out and look at it. Okay, so the jog shuttle control has its own wires separate. Yeah, this has also been investigated before. Maybe someone was given the job of trying to fix this thing and already took apart all this stuff to look at it to see what the deal is. Oh, you have to pull off all these knobbies. And the volume. I guess it's a digital volume. Still isn't going to come out. There's a metal bracket. Oh, you have to... Okay. Yes, you have to just pull that out separately. Yes, because I'd undone those screws as well. Not sure which part comes out. Yeah, but now, because of the spacing, we have to take that thing off. Don't watch that. That's not how you treat these things. The earphone socket thing. Yes, without the volume control pot, so that must be a separate function. Okay, so there is active stuff on this board, although it might just be drivers for the little lights, like a shift register thing, or some other type of buffer. What are those chips? The Fairchild 573138 and another 573. Okay, so 138, that's a decoder, like a 3 to 9 line decoder, I think. So that will be to do with scanning the keyboard. And those other two are latches 573, so they might be to do with multiplexing the LEDs out or different sections of a key matrix. So not sure. I don't think this will be the thing it's complaining about not working. Just redo that connection just in case. Try not to ruin it in the process. Okay, there's the front panel thing, and that's a combined jog shuttle controller thing with which latches between the two positions, a free rotate and the standard shuttle thing with a center pause. Quite like the concentric ones where it's got the jog and shuttle as separate things. It's a bit more easier or quicker to access because you just turn the one you want to use. But that seems to be the Sony way to combine them. Maybe it's just the modern way, cost cutting. Oh, we have to put that back first. Oh, no, not first. I think there might be another one of these on its way. I've been alerted to some stuff coming. I also have another version, a thing that looks pretty much the same as that, but it records onto some kind of professional disc apparently, which might be some sort of Blu-ray thing. I don't have any of the discs, and I'm pretty sure that also doesn't work. So we'll have a look at that at some point. There might be more of those on their way too. There's stuff on the way, so look forward to that. Little thing under there, the wire restraint thing. No washers, just screw the nut on and be happy with that. Right, well, I'll put back the rest of this stuff, and if something interesting happens I'll show you, and then otherwise we'll try it out again, see what the deal is. If we can get it to start up again, we'll have a look what the network interface does, and then that'll be us. Alright, I'm putting this thing back together now, and then we'll try it out. Well, most of it's back together. See if anything's changed. Guessing it still won't work because we didn't really do anything, did we? Nothing's been done to fix it. I feel also I've forgotten something. There's a screw left over. Oh, it might have just been the one on the ground terminal on the back. Guess so. Well, it does have a screw mark around it, so I guess that's what it was. It's got these drives. That's number 1. It goes in that. I'm just wondering, do you think that because I had the drive up on an angle for a while, is that why it worked? Like old PlayStation 1s that you have to put up on an angle to make them read the disc? Whether or not that actually helps, but it makes you feel better at least. This one's number 2. Mush that back into that shock mounting thing. Alright, let's juice this up and see what happens. I'll just put back this video cable so we can, well, in hope that it might work again. May it rise again. Welcome to. I think that needs to be moved. Well, at least then we can see the LEDs. Guess it's still ruined because, yeah. It's just weird that the drive seemed to restart several times. Okay. Yeah, so we didn't do very much to it and the problem didn't go away, so there you go. That's not that surprising, is it? But last time it just randomly started working after a while. You see the drive red just then, I heard it and saw the light flashing. Just squish everything about for a while. I'm just wondering if we should try externally powering the hard disks in case there's a power supply issue. Would it be that easy? It's definitely doing a lot of reading. Guess we should try it. Let's see if I can work out an easy way to power these from some other power source. It's weird, like double cable. It's like a figure-8 cable but with heaps of stuff in it. It could just be some caps going bad and the power supply is just a little bit weak. It doesn't want to spin up these drives properly. We'll do one final check with externally powering these drives and see if that makes any difference. Oh, I guess we should just leave it on while I'm finding a power supply in case that helps. Ah, look at that. It came up after, yeah, just as I dug out this thing. Some power supply which connects to this USB to IDE thing, and I got this splitter thing. Just gonna try that. It's probably not grunty enough, but look, it came up by itself after some period of time. So there you go. So maybe it doesn't have a problem if you just leave it for a while. Maybe it's not the drive. Well, we know it's not the drives because the error message isn't about the drives, is it? Yeah, so it's running. If we turn on the little thingy. Oh, I plugged the wrong cable in, didn't I? It's not the green one, it's the blue one. Alright, so it's fine. Also, yeah, the LEDs there are flashing quite a lot. Let's just turn it on again, see if it errors again. Yeah, just hasn't changed. But apparently if you leave it for a while, then it comes right, alright. So we'll try powering the drives from this weird adapter thing. You hear the drive spin up. It's still doing that same thing where they seem to re-spin up a few times. Though I don't think it would have changed anything. No, it's just got the same error as before. We'll leave it for a while to start. Well, assuming it does, and then we'll just see if we can get something happening over the network port. Alright, well it started up again, so let's go to the menu and go and set up network. Yeah, that's weird. It needs to be on jog 4, and then you go set. Yeah, remembered it. I don't know about gateways. Do we care about that? Oh, too late. Did it say invalid? Maybe this thing doesn't have a web page, it's got some other stuff. You need to set up an address book. Maybe it's tedious. We'll plug in a network cable and we'll see if anything lights up. So there's a network LED there. I don't know if it needs to be rebooted to like take the new network settings. There needs to be like 10. The gateway. 10.1. Does it say invalid on repower or something? I don't know. Didn't say it this time. Who knows? I'm gonna repower it and then see if it comes up. But of course then we've got to wait again. Alright, it started up again, so we'll just check. Is there a web page? There is a web page. It says password protected page, but you have to enter. It just says please sign in. So here, this is what you get. It's a DR1000 main page, and it says driver status get password protected page, and then you're supposed to log in. But what do you use to log in? I guess it's this. Oh, okay, DSR, and then whatever the password is. Let's call the password AB. Network is, but the password which we made AB, but that's not going to be valid until we repower it. Okay, we're going to repower it again. Alright, well I'll do that, and then we'll see if we can log in with our new password AB. Okay, final go with this thing. Now that it's started up again, we'll just DSR AB. Okay. Your connection is not private. Alright, so even though we set the password, it does not work. AB. Nope. Maybe it's small letters even though we typed in big letters. Nope. Alright, I guess that's not the password then, even though we configured it. It says DSR and that. Well, we entered it. A data set key, which is what we'd pushed. We're gonna repower it again. One more time. And wait again. Alright, final try. And we're gonna use the new password, which was just an A. Nope, doesn't work. Okay, so I guess you can't log into it then, which is really weird because we'd set a password and didn't complain. And alright, there you go. Oh, that's a look at a VCR that doesn't work very well. Alright, so that was a look at the Sony DSR-DR1000 video disc recorder that records to hard disks, not laser discs or other types of discs. And it sort of works, but the network interface doesn't seem to handle the password you set, and for some reason there's an error at the start which goes away after a while, and then it just works. Not really sure what the deal is. It's an interesting device though. Make a good edit feeder because of the remote control that it's got, the 9-pin remote. Perhaps we'll have a play with one of those at some point. Got some various editing controllers knocking about, so we could have a go on those. Great! More VCRs next time.